to Adventures in Entrepreneurship. I am your host and first mate, Jared Hogue, and this is Captain Clay, the man that you want to listen to. Clay, maiden voyage here at Adventures in Entrepreneurship. We are going to be helping all the entrepreneurs out there navigate the tricky waters of working for yourself. Now, 45 seconds or less, tell everybody, all of our viewers out there, mainly just my mom, why we should listen to you.
Well, Ms. Hogue and others, entrepreneurship is simply solving a problem and making a profit for doing it. And along the way, though, to solving problems, you have to build systems, you have to hire people, you have to fire people, you have to motivate your employees, you have to pay taxes. I just paid taxes last week. I'm pretty pumped up about it. $40,000 to the government, yeah! It's a deal where there's a lot of things that go into it. And if you're not careful, you'll spend all your time messing up, making mistakes, and not making a profit. And because my wife and I have been blessed enough to have 9 different successful small businesses and 5 beautiful kids, we've kind of learned a bunch of wrong ways to do it, in terms of how to manage your time incorrectly or how to manage your business improperly. And now we've kind of built some systems that work for us. And so when we won the U.S. SBA Entrepreneur of the Year award, we got asked to travel around the country and teach entrepreneurship. And we thought this would be a great way to teach entrepreneurs how to do it so you can save yourself some time and frustration for making mistakes. And I know that was 77 seconds.
So we're going to be learning from some of the mistakes you've made, and I know that one thing that you've ingrained in me over the years as I've been with you is to implement systems, create a prototype, and make it duplicatable. Will you tell all of our viewers out there why this is important?
Well, just imagine for a second that you make cakes for a living. That's what you do. You're a baker, but you're an awesome baker. And all the recipes are in your brain. They're in your squish. Well, what happens is employee number 1 comes to you and says, hey, how do you make this? I know that no bakeries that are legit would be making pound cake, but let's just say they said, how do you make yellow cake? All right. Then you say, well, you want to put some eggs in there. Now you want to beat, you want to make sure you stir it this way, and then you want to make sure you do this, and you're just giving people all these verbal commands. They're not going to remember what to do. And so every cake you make, the consistency is going to be random at best. And your customers will get frustrated, and then they'll say, well, Jared, we only want to use your cakes. We only like it when Jared makes the cakes. We only like it when the owner makes the cakes. So pretty soon as the owner, you start doing everything. Well, we only like it when the owner sends emails. I only like it when the owner makes the call. I only like it when the owner pays my bill, pays me. So what happens is you end up having to do everything because you can't teach anyone to do anything. But if you build a prototype and you properly document it, you can teach anyone to do anything very quickly. Anyone who has a good attitude and high expectation for life.
So the importance is, this is why everybody will eat a Betty Crocker cake, is because she has written it down and puts that system on the back of every box rather than just telling you what to do.
Yes, and I will tell you the prototype is the most important aspect of your business.
Why is it so important?
Well, if it's not, for me specifically, I remember starting the DJ business, and I would call up. I started in the phone book calling apartments because that was alphabetically first in the yellow pages. So I called them. There was efficiency there, and I started calling the apartments, cold calling to see if they needed a DJ. And quickly I discovered that no apartment complex in America wants a DJ because they all believe that the DJs live with their mothers and are just getting started, and they might flake out and bail out. But what I found is I kept changing the cold call. I found out that there was somebody in charge of the resident appreciation party at almost every A-level apartment complex, and those people were looking to entertain their guests once a year, and they had hired DJs. They had hired DJs in the past, but all of them were looking for event planners. And so over time, I found out, okay, the best way to cold call an apartment complex is to ask, hey, who there schedules our annual appreciation parties? And they figured it was a resident making the call. They'd put you right through. And so over time, I scripted it out, wrote it down, and then taught another guy to do it. And pretty soon there's 2 of us making the same call. And then I stopped making the calls myself and had 2 guys make the call, and I worked on the next kind of call. And over time, you can duplicate your efforts, and it's just dramatically important.
Okay. Now, I'm sure that you got this all right on the first try, that as you started making these phone calls, you were just knocking out of the park right out the gate.
Well, I read this awesome quote by the founder of IBM, Tom Watson, and he said that if you want to succeed more quickly, double your rate of failure. And I grew up in western Minnesota with very limited financial means, and I was working out of my apartment because I got asked to not return to Oral Roberts University. But I liked the place. I was just asked not to return. And so I'm working out of my dorm room, hustling, making calls, and I eventually had to move to my apartment because I got excommunicated. So I'm in my apartment making calls, and when you have that kind of tenacity, because you have to feed yourself, that's the kind of tenacity you have to put into it, but then you have to put that kind of tenacity and energy into building the prototype. And most entrepreneurs don't do that. They just focus on making those calls and not making the prototype. And so what ends up happening is it could take them 10 years to make a prototype. But Jared, I'll tell you, anybody listening to this, if watching this, if you make calls or work on your system, or you're making cakes, or you're detailing cars, whatever you might be doing, if you focus with tenacity on building the systems and working on the business instead of in it, I believe 30 days of intensity and you should have your business model together. I sincerely believe that.
It's fantastic. So it's very, very important to be constantly tweaking and tinkering the prototype with some focus. How would you say is the best way to be tweaking and tinkering with that prototype or that system?
It's kind of like troubleshooting. I'll give you an example. This will be our amplifier here, amplifier boat, and this will be our mixer right here. Okay, so the mixer, the amplifier. This right here, How to Win Friends and Influence People, will be our CD player.
Okay.
And this right here will be our speaker. Well, if you know that the audio is coming out of the CD player and it's coming into the mixer, and then it goes from the mixer to the amp and from the amp to the speakers, if you're not hearing anything, you know that something is weird, something weird is going on. So you just start off at the beginning and you say, okay, am I getting a signal? Yes. Okay, great. Is my mixer working? Oh, the mixer's not on. You can fix that. Oh, the mixer is on. Okay, so the audio's working, the mixer's on. Is the amp on? Oh, the amp's not on. You can fix that. But you have to start at the front and work your way through. So if your customers are booking your cakes, they're scheduling your cakes, or they're scheduling a detailing, and they're excited, they like it, but then after you deliver the service, they're not happy, you got to go, okay, let's go to the beginning. And if they're happy at the beginning, okay, it must be something we're doing at the end. So it's important that you isolate the variable that's causing you problems.
So focus on one part at a time. Don't try to revamp and redo the entire system. Just tinker with one piece at a time.
Tinker with one piece at a time. Just be pig-headed about only changing one variable at a time. And make sure you use no more than 4 props ever to give an illustration.
Anything else you'd like to add today for changing, tweaking, developing the appropriate system?
I will tell you this, anybody watching this, if you own a gym, a fitness center, tanning salon, a furniture store, whatever kind of business you're working in, just make sure you spend as much time working on the prototype as you spend working in the business. I just want to repeat that more. Spend as much time working on the prototype as you spend working in your business, and you'll be fine.
So there you have it. The maiden voyage of adventures in entrepreneurship. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave those below on our Facebook page or our YouTube page. Otherwise, I'm your first mate and host, Jared. This is Captain Clay, and this is Adventures in Entrepreneurship.
Email complaints to him directly.
I don't know how to talk.